Hi, and welcome to another episode of Doug Talks Tech. And today we're going to talk about online shopping, how to stay safe, how to keep things secure, and still have fun. Today we'll learn about what it takes to recognize when you're in an unsafe shopping situation, what it's like on the current big boys in the e-commerce space, and what kind of features you should look for. Talk about what's happened in the area of being able to buy food online, and not just fast food, but meals for your family. And then finally, we'll finish up by talking about some perks of shopping online. First, let's talk about what makes online shopping so attractive. First thing is, it does in fact make our lives easier. For a lot of us, the attraction to be able to get products that we want delivered free to the household is awesome. But in most cases now, you can, if you don't want it delivered directly or to pay for delivery, or you can't get free delivery, then many retailers allow you to buy a product and have you pick it up at the store or have it shipped to a store that's closer to you. So, and we'll talk a little bit more about this. Certainly in the world of web shopping, the idea of being able to do comparison shopping has just become expected. It's table stakes. You can not only you getting phenomenal selection, things that you normally would never have dreamed of being able to find online. Now you can compare all of those products and find the cheapest, find the one with the best features, whatever happens to be your focus. Now, usually the place to start is not so much is it safe, because for those that are already online shopping, they've gotten over this hurdle, but for many, there's still this concern over putting their credit card into a browser, giving away all of the necessary passwords, and hitting submit over the internet. So I wanted to talk about a little bit about what happens when we click submit and enter our information. Where does it go? Are we exposed? And how can we better protect ourselves? Now, there's really three places where we need to worry about security, or where we need to think about security. First, it starts with you. You're the person entering the information in, and you're the person who understands where all your credit card information is kept, and enter it into the browser. Second thing you worry about is the connection. So if once I put it into the browser and hit submit, who else might be listening? And if they're listening, what are they getting? And then finally, what happens to it when it hits the other end of the service? Now, if we look at ourselves, the place we start is in online shopping is to remember that it's not a spectator sport, and that it's important to keep passwords away from prying eyes. If you have passwords written down, and there's nothing wrong with doing that, as long as they don't make it into the light of day, you should remember to shred them before disposing of them. The other thing you need to do is to keep your virus and malware protection software up to date. And the reason for that is that if you keep to rule number one and never enter a buying situation in a public place, then the only other thing you have to worry about is if someone's installed a virus or a malware called Keylogger, which basically records all of your keystrokes and sends them over the internet. If you've got those things up to date, you don't have to worry about the third one either. Now, a lot of people don't think about this, but the connection that goes from your browser through the internet to another computer is not encrypted. It's not protected in any way other than to stop someone from getting into your machine. There are firewall protections. But the data is not encrypted. As you type it in, that's how it appears over the internet normally. But you can protect the data, you can encrypt the data going through that connection, and you do that using a technology called Secure Sockets, or SSL. And all the browsers have this. It's what they call 128-bit or 256-bit encryption. And encryption is basically, it takes the information in a human readable format and it mashes it up so that it's completely nonsense, cannot be read by a human being. but in such a way that you can unencrypt it at the other end. So if you have the key that fits the lock, then the data is yours. And as long as that key is really hard to get, the connection is very secure. And that's how VPNs work. Now, when your browser talks to a server, what it does is it sends a request for credentials first. And then the server needs to respond with those credentials. And if the web browser is satisfied that the certificate that is sent along matches the web server they're expecting to be talking to, then they will say, okay, let's go ahead and start a session. And a temporary secure session is set up between the browser and the server, between you and Amazon, as an example, or Apple, or any of the other e-commerce sites that you deal with. And I mentioned the session is secure because this isn't an all-time, it's secure forever situation. It's secure for the length of the time that you're connected to that server. As soon as you disconnect, you get back off of the page, or you go onto another server, another page on the web, that session is terminated, and you have to go through this process all over again. So if someone was going to focus on breaking into that connection, what would it take? And so this I found on Quora is just basically a powers of two kind of calculation of how long it would take. If you could do use a supercomputer and it could check combinations at 1 billion attempts a second, it would take the 40-bit, you could go through all the combinations in about 9 minutes, just to give a scale. And nobody uses 40-bit. Really, the typical e-commerce website is using 128 bits. And at that level, if we could do 1 billion, test 1 billion combinations every second, it would take literal trillions of years for you to get through them. Now, there are, if you could be lucky and hit on, maybe hit on it in only 1 billion years, but either way, it's pretty hard to get into it. And at 256, which is what the banks and other commerce sites use to protect your information once they have it, it's practically, current technologies can't be broken. So that gives you sort of a sense of how secure the connection is between two computers. Now, the best practice, of course, in all of online shopping is, as I've said, it's you. Never buy something in a public place, because you're just going to potentially expose information you don't want out there. Certainly, you shouldn't bandy about your credit cards in a way that people can see all of the numbers and expiry date and everything in public places. Don't buy anything that doesn't have secure sockets. So the way we see that is in the browser, there's often a lock, closed lock beside the URL, one side or the other, that indicates to you that this connection, this session is protected. It's safest, of course, if you're shopping online, is go with the big guys, because they have the most to lose and probably the best security, best equipped for security. There are platforms like Shopify, which are almost, I think, probably on par with a Amazon or a Best Buy in terms of security, and they give small businesses the way to compete with the big guys. So they are also, I would fall into the same class. If it's a Shopify-based site, then you should do your homework, but that would also be, I think, in my mind, a secure way to go. The other thing you can do is you don't have to, when you get to the point where you've going to purchase and you're going to check out, you don't have to let them save your credit card information. That way, if their back-end system was hacked, you have nothing to lose, right? They've got, worst case, an email and a list of purchases, but they don't have any important information, because what they do use, your credit card number, the CCV, the expiry date, all that information is just used in the transaction. They go to the bank, to Visa or MasterCard, get authorized to on the transaction, that you're good for the transaction, and then the information is gone. As I think the best way for you to feel safe and that you are safe is to just be diligent about checking your credit card reports every month. And if there's anything that you're not sure about, look over and see who billed you and make sure that you understand, the charge and the billing and the person. If it doesn't make sense, you call the fraud department, the number's on the back of your credit card, explain to them what was done. Often there's no questions asked. They just cancel those charges because they just basically, whoever billed it is not paid, and they cancel the card and reissue a new card, which you'll see typically in a few days, couple of days. Now, in terms of online, there are some tips. These are just things that I've experienced using kind of the big sites. A lot of people are intimidated by Amazon. If you look at this page, you'll see there's a couple of things. Once you've decided, say this is the product you want, if you look down underneath the Buy Now button, it says who it's sold by and if it's fulfilled by Amazon. Fulfilled by Amazon, there are literally thousands of retailers within the Amazon network. They are not, you're not buying from Amazon, you're buying from them. They take the product off and they have choice. They can either take the product, package it up and ship it themselves, or they can warehouse it with Amazon and Amazon ships it out and fulfills it and brings it to your house. If it's fulfilled by Amazon, it tells you a couple of things. One is that there's inventory in your location, and two, it'll probably be pretty quick. If it's not fulfilled by Amazon, then you might need to do some additional homework, and this is where a lot of people get confused with Amazon, because some things can take a couple of weeks, and if you didn't check that it's coming from California, you might be confused, right? But if it doesn't say it's fulfilled by Amazon, then it's not coming to you from Amazon. A lot of retailers allow a couple of conveniences now. One is that you can order it online and pick it up in store, or you can order it online or you can order it from a store, and if that store isn't close to you, they'll ship it to a store that's closer to you for to pick up. So Home Depot does the latter. You can order a product, and if it's not at the store near you, they'll ship it to that store. It can sometimes take a week or so. And Best Buy does if you go to Best Buy, they will allow you to choose stores. So if you say you wanted to go, okay, so say you wanted to, now you can see what's in stock and not in stock, right? And in what store, which is wonderful. And if you happen to say you're going to be down by the Warden store, you click reserve here, and that product is not purchased. It is in the store, ready. It'll be pulled aside and ready for you to pick up, and there's a separate counter usually you can go to pick that up. We'll talk about this little pop-up thing in a second. Okay, so you can avoid lineups, you avoid product shortages by having it just go in and pick it up. It saves you shipping because you're not shipping, you're just reserving it. And it gives you now have the ability to check in-store inventory, which is awesome. Now, suppose you did go to the trouble of keeping your credit cards. You don't have to enter it every time you buy. You let Best Buy or Future Shop or Amazon save that. Then you have to be careful from the perspective of your login to the Amazon site, because if someone gets your login credentials, they also can purchase. They can't get your credit card information, but because it's hidden. From once the time you enter it, it's hidden for other people. So someone else gets in your account, they can't see your card, but they can buy on your card, no trouble. So what Amazon has, and there may be others, is they've added a two-step verification. So when you go to buy, it sends a code to your phone. You have to enter that code before you can continue. I think that's a great feature, and it gives you, similar to two-step authentication, it gives you the ability to ensure that you are the only person who can actually access that account. Now there's e-commerce is going to continue to spread. It's as you've seen, it's a convenient cashless way to go about buying things. has a lot of conveniences associated with it. And in that world, the industries who handle food are starting to figure out how to get you food to your home in a timely, safe manner with all the conveniences of online. And it started really with fast food. And when I was working with startups, a lot of these college and university kids loved this idea because they didn't have a lot of money and they wanted to be able to get stuff sent to their dorm rooms or their apartments inexpensively. And since then, I mean, the main problem with that was that the companies that didn't have a delivery service, like your local restaurant, didn't have a convenient way of managing just the order taking, the packaging for transport, and the delivery in a timely manner, so that by the time it got to clients, it was cold. Right? You need to have it. It needs to get there as quickly as possible in a safe, secure package, so that it's not messy and cold and whatever. You get the idea. Since then, a lot of these companies have popped up and they've figured out the logistics issues. They've figured out how to bring more restaurants into the fray, and they effectively act as the shipping engine for these restaurants. Restaurants are more busy, even though the tables aren't full all the time, and that keeps their kitchens busy, which means the food's fresher and etc. So it's been a good thing. It's even opened it up to crowdsourced transportation in the form of Uber Eats, where if you're interested in picking up a portion of the delivery fee, you can deliver food for a part-time job. Contrast that with, so now it's not just pizza, chips, and burgers. It's now you can pick up lasagna or Chinese food or sushi, or you can even get a coffee delivered to your house if you want. The charges are anything from 99 cents to several dollars. You really need to be careful what it is you're looking at, because I think you could probably spend as much as the product costs on delivery if you're not careful. Now, groceries, many of us know someone who is shut in for one reason or another, health, or they don't drive and they're too frail to drive. And services like Grocery Gateway and PC Express are great for this group, because they can get products packaged up, the things that they need on a weekly basis, and have it brought to their home. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's a lot less expensive than owning a car and going through all of the logistics to get yourself to the store. A lot of PC Express, for example, will charge you less if you pick it up at the store. But there's also the delivery. Longos has prepackaged meals, so in addition to your normal grocery needs, you can order in a lasagna or spaghetti or something. You have to cook it yourself, but it's ready to go, and that's really for a lot of people that would be handy. There's also this new what I call meal kit delivery, and it's basically a subscription service where you sign up for 2, 3, 4 meals a week. They send out the week's meals to you in a cooled, subdivided set of packages with instructions on every meal. They have a kitchen where they go and vet out new recipes. They know all the proportions. It's for someone who doesn't want to get wrapped up in planning for the preparation of a meal, wants someone to lead them through it. And they are, in large part, most of these folks are differentiating themselves on the quality of the products, the produce that they pick up, and it might be organic or healthy or whatever, and it's very convenient. Now, in my research, the minimum size of a meal is two servings. So you can go 2 servings, 4 servings, etc. when you order or subscribe for the monthly fee. The meals are going to be, servings going to be somewhere in the $6 to $7 range, I think, and that will give you, which isn't too bad for a lot of people. It saves, it's convenient, it's a tested recipe, and the ingredients are already packaged in a unit for the meals you'll need in that week. You don't have to do obviously the whole week's meals, but you can choose some subset of that, and it has a lot of convenience. The last thing I want to talk about is perks. And so in online shopping, several years ago, Ebates came out with the idea that you could buy a product through their site. So you click on a retailer on the Ebates site. Let's show you what that looks like. So on the Ebates site, you'll see all kinds of, you can search for a store. So we wanted Amazon. You can see Amazon's offering up to 5%. Literally thousands of stores. Well, they show 750 stores, and significant discounts. And sometimes it's a dollar amount, sometimes it's a percentage. But what you do is you go here, you find the retailer you're interested in. They bring up that this page. You just click Shop Now, and that takes you to the Amazon site. The important difference in doing it this way than rather than just going directly is that it records the fact that you went through them and calculates the cash back. Technically how they do it, I don't know, but they do it. Now, to give you another example, if you go to, you saw on the Best Buy site, they had this 2% cash back. I've installed the Google Chrome extension for Rakuten, which was Ebates. And so clicking here is the same, has the same effect as clicking here. You go right to the site. They've recorded the fact that you came through them, and if you buy something and close it out in the shopping cart, then they accrue you that percentage back. And even if you return to the store, they still pay you your percentage. And that's about it. Thanks for listening. If you've got questions, please put them in the comments below the video, and thanks very much for watching.